Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Functional
Yo.
and Adam.
Hello.
We might be joined by an Inquisitor later on this evening, though we'll have to see as to that. He is currently at work, so it's if his schedule ends up allowing him. But, as it is a Friday, once again, I am the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are all of you doing this evening?
I'm pretty good. Spent the day in the country, got out of the city, just cleared my head. It was
Always
therapeutic. It
nice.
was wonderful. Yeah. How about you, Adam? Kill any onions today?
No, I tried sauerkraut for the first time, and that wasn't too bad. Is there onions in
Oh.
that?
It's normally just pickled cabbage.
Just cabbage, yeah.
Oh.
Normally.
Yeah. Wasn't too bad.
You can get different types of sauerkraut and different types of different things. So the two major are you get white cabbage and red cabbage sauerkraut, but then you can get some that include other ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever was in this one wasn't too bad.
Good.
Yeah.
Broadening your palate a little.
Yeah, just a little bit. But
That's good.
still no onions. Like I said, I'm not opposed to trying new things, but if I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm not gonna eat it. Fucking
True that. Because why suffer things you don't like? Life's too short to do want to feel pressure to do things or eat things you don't like. I mean, your palate's your palate, and nobody can take that away from you.
like I said, the only time I will stomach an onion is if this one particular person cooks me a dish and I'll eat it for her.
I still go by the policy of if I have something once and I don't like it, I'll give it at least one more go. If I've had it several times, I'm never going to try a preparation that is similar if I didn't like it. If there's a different preparation, I'll give it a go on that preparation and see if it is better that way.
Right.
Because I don't want to miss out on something that's actually good just because the first time I had it, someone cooked it horrendously.
Did it wrong, or just in a way you don't like. There's a bit of a misconception that like the names we give for food to dishes, it's not about the dish, it's about the way in which you prepare it.
Mm-hmm.
Cannibalistic brings up a good point. It's not so much the flavoring, because a light onion flavor isn't so bad to the palate for me.
Yeah.
It is really just eating the fucking thing on its own. That's why
I keep saying it's the sulfurous compounds within the onion that you don't like, which get cooked off if someone knows what they're doing.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's more the dramatic memory of walking past the doorway and seeing an onion getting blown by a teddy bear, and all of a sudden it's...
Well, that's it for us. Good night, folks.
That
was the quickest stream ever.
See, the strange thing is that actually hit fairly close to one of the topics that I was going, if it comes up, might talk about it tonight.
Mm.
So you guys know the routine thing of the terminally online Twitter artist that ends up coming out against this community or that, and then it turns out that they're a massive fucking hypocrite.
Yep.
You know how that's become a ridiculous trend? Yep. So there's an artist that they made a ad or a comic ages ago, which was effectively a don't yuck someone else's yum sort of comic.
Mm.
So you know the type that I'm talking about, right? Where it's just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it's bad.
Yeah.
So don't just say that it should be done away with. And he made a claim that he didn't support after a while because he made that comic. It was used widely as a bit of a meme. And then he made another comic where he killed that comic. Hey, don't yuck the Dr. Funkenstein's ghost is an idea that if someone's into, let's say, to use the food example that we just had a few moments ago, just because Adam doesn't like onions,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that onions are bad.
No.
And it doesn't mean that he should be looking at someone else eating onions and going, "What the fuck are you doing? Why do you have onions?"
What's wrong with you?
What's
yeah,
wrong
onions are
with you?
terrible. Stop it.
So,
Hey, yeah, and honestly, like I look at it like, hey, doesn't that mean more onions for you? Like,
True.
it's
How I
not
look
just
at vegans.
it's not just a don't knock it till you try it. It's a even if you've tried it and you've decided that it isn't for you, don't then go looking at other people and go, "What the fuck is wrong with you? You enjoy rom-coms? Rom-coms are bullshit."
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
yeah.
you just don't like rom-coms. Maybe action movies are your shit, and you go for action movies.
No
And
way,
just
dude.
like you would be kind of pissed off if the person who loves rom-coms goes, "Oh, what? You like fucking action movies? Grow up."
Yeah, you
I
like
like-
Die Hard? That's such a stupid, unrealistic movie. What's wrong with you?
I like black and white French films.
Okay, that's just wrong.
Yeah, you just need to seek help.
Like I said, like when it comes to food, your palate's your own. We each have different palates. We each have different genetics that affect our palates.
And some people have the wrong genetics, like they taste
Like me.
soap when they have cilantro.
Yeah.
Like me, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
dude, that's exactly like me.
That's what a don't yuck someone else's yum
Mm.
idea is. It's the idea of just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you should be calling out other people for what they like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he did another comic where he killed his previous comic, the don't yuck someone else's yum sort of comic. And he then came out and said, "Well, the reason that I'm doing that, or the reason that I did that is because I found out that I can't use one of the words. I don't think YouTube is intelligent enough to get what chomos are." So he claimed that a bunch of chomos were using his comic
Mm.
to advocate for
Oh God.
their disgusting subhuman behavior.
Yeah.
He didn't
That's
give,
not taste. There's something severely wrong with you. That's
Yeah.
not taste.
Yeah, and he said that he killed the comic for that reason. He didn't give any evidence for it. And then immediately after saying that he said, "I'm not talking about people that enjoy lolly art, though really they're just diet chomos anyways."
Yeah.
Which became a, hold on a second.
Wait. So, a group of cholos who are on a diet, they also enjoy lowly content? What did I hear?
Cholos. I'm not talking about the
Like cholos, right? They wear
Hispanic
Jenko jeans.
No, I'm not talking about Hispanic urban
Mo,
youths,
cho, mo.
shall we say, with their chola girls that have the painted on or sometimes tattooed on eyebrows because they've decided just to fucking shave them for some goddamn reason.
Bro,
I'm not talking about that.
in a different timeline, we are talking about that. There is a group of cholos out there that are fucking sitting there like, dude, bro, I love my lolly porn.
But yeah, the thing is that he then started going on to rant about how lolly and that type of art is diet chomo. That's mo, not low.
Okay, chomo. Okay,
And
what is a chomo again?
you know the rumors about Joe Biden and children?
Ew, I don't know if I want to know.
Or you know the Catholic priests and children?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah,
Oh.
The
the
Catholic
first part,
priests
ch,
that did that.
is child. Mo for
Oh.
I'm gonna mow you down with my lawnmower.
Yeah, so chomo. It's a term that is rather useful and it originated in prison, of course.
Well, hold on.
Hey,
We're
Johnny.
all. It's 2023, so we're all about equality, and I think it's very likely that a cholo could also be a chomo at the same time.
Oh yeah, there are cholo
Sure.
chomos.
Yeah, cholo chomos.
Cholomos.
Cholomos.
There are also chola chomos.
Chola
So-
chomos.
I'm not excluding anyone based on their ethnic origin or on what
Their
bits
dangly
they
bits
have
or lack
between
thereof.
their legs,
You know
whether
what's
they have
very
innies
elusive
or
though
outies.
is the chemo chomos. There's a shrinking group of chemo chomos out there.
The chemo cholo chomos.
No, even worse. I gotta get my injection, Mahomes.
And even worse, you have the chemo cholo chomos from Soho. So it just keeps on adding on. But yeah, he came out, started ranting against people that enjoy lolly art, to include people that, because there's functionally two branches of lolly. There's the lolly characters that are actually supposed to be young, and then there's just the very slight characters that aren't young. And he was including both of those, saying lolly. Turns out, yeah, he's drawn pictures of Sonic, a canonically underage character, fucking the shit out of Pikachu, who's also meant to look neotenous. So
God.
does that mean that he's a diet baby fur zoophile? Because if the other shit meant that they were diet chomos, and clearly that means that he's a diet zoophile and a diet chomo as well, because underage and furry. So that started coming out.
My head hurts already.
Yeah. And immediately after that came out, more people started looking into it, and they went, oh, there's a fuck ton more that he's done. And they start dragging out all the other shit that he's drawn, which just made his take even more ridiculous. Which, come on, people, if you don't like something, don't consume it naturally. If you've done things that are very similar, don't go chastising someone doing the same. Because it's only a matter of time before someone goes, are you fucking serious? Here's your shit. Oh yeah, by the way, Johnny, in that comic that he drew, it was functionally an origin of Sonichu, because their child was Sonichu. So it was ultimately a Chris Chan joke. But it was based off of a rather poorly worded news headline from when Detective Pikachu and Sonic were in theaters at the same time. And it was Sonic Tops Pikachu.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some furry visitors. Hi, kittens.
But it's just one of those things that, why do people keep on deciding to thrust their foot into a bear trap? If you've drawn certain types of art, perhaps don't shit on people for drawing similar sorts of art.
If you live in a glass house, don't throw stones.
Yeah. And it's the same thing that we've seen in comedy, where you'll have a comic that made their bones by telling hilarious and inappropriate jokes.
Yep.
And then the moment that they're trying to be a bit more respectable, they turn around and they start going, how dare anyone tell these sorts of jokes? And it's always just a fuck you.
Oh, you mean like Sarah Silverman doing blackface and then coming out and going, everybody should be kind to people and blah 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 blah. You're being a scumbag for making edgy jokes. It's like, bitch, how did you get where you were?
Yep.
I can't remember. I want to say it was Norm Macdonald, but I don't want to say that it was him just because I might be wrong. But I could have sworn that there was a comedian who was talking about this, who was saying, it's interesting. I think it might have been Jim Brewer, actually, where it's interesting that, these people would do this, say these jokes, use these bits, and then once they make it, immediately start pulling the ladder up behind them so that nobody else could achieve what they did.
Yep.
And
climb the same ladder.
yeah, I think, but honestly, I think it is too. Once they reach that threshold, they're looking back at the struggles that they had to go through, and not justifying what they did or what they're doing, but just I understand. But it's they've already, I guess, quote unquote, sold their souls, so they're gonna go right in and
yeah, they climbed that ladder and then kicked it over once they got up there.
Yep. They don't give a shit.
And Funkenstein, Jimmy Kimmel, Sarah Silverman, they're all in that same group of Hollywood comedians. So it's the exact same thing. He used to have girls on trampolines, and yet, fast forward to modern days, and he's like complaining about sexism on his stupid late night show. It's like, motherfucker, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? You had the man show. At least Adam Carolla had the balls to stick to his convictions and not sell his soul to the corporate devils to get a late night corporate gig.
Yep. Yeah, Peter Dinklage who
yeah.
took any fucking role that he could for Little Person and then got pissed off that there's going to be a movie that has 7 roles for little people. 7 fucking dwarves are going to get acting jobs out of this shit? Nah, fuck that. None of them get any work.
And yeah, Funkenstein, my mother taught me to not throw stones at less fortunate. Or no, my father told me to not throw stones at the less fortunate than me. My mother taught me to aim for their heads.
Nice. And that just reminded me when you mentioned the Sarah Silverman blackface. You guys have seen the one, isn't it an Atlanta politician that is functionally a black man doing blackface? It was an Atlanta politician.
I don't think so.
That there's been videos that have come out of his election campaign from a few years ago, back before 2016.
Right.
And he is talking in a standard voice, and he has just a very Obama-esque presentation. So, close trimmed hair, wearing a nice suit. Yeah, he's now run for office in Atlanta, and he's the one that's come out with a massive afro and has been putting on his best Martin Luther King impression.
Yeah, I would call it more Farrakhan, but yeah.
Oh no, I'm saying the vocal presentation is very Martin Luther King, because it is very much the I've seen it. the Southern Baptist, the and he said sort of presentation.
Yeah, the New York DA, what's his name? The one going after Trump. He does that. Bragg. He does that caricature of a Southern Baptist black preacher
it was
man.
Tennessee. Sorry.
Tennessee,
Dr.
whatever.
Just
I know who you're talking about, though. As soon as you said Afro, I'm like, oh, I know that.
Yep.
I almost said a bad word. I know that guy. Yeah, I've seen that shit. It's so.
Were you about to make the same distinction that the Boondocks did?
Yeah. This is what I call a nigga moment.
Hold on. This is what's getting crazy for me. Is this stuff is, I mean, apparently is blatant at this point. If we're talking about it, casually like this.
Oh yeah.
My question is,
they throw it in our
dude,
face.
how many how many times does this have to happen before people realize that, they are speaking to you like you are a dumb fuck. This is why they are doing this. Like this is 100%. I carry hot sauce in my pocket dude. They are speaking to you like you are a fucking infant. Do you not understand this? This is I mean, good Lord, and how long has this been going on?
I would be extremely insulted if I was the one that they were trying to pander to like this.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I just wish it would end so I could stop using this voice and I can go back to using my natural voice.
Well, like for instance, with all the supposed severe rise in anti-Semitic violence, blah 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 blah. That's my background. I'm not like a big practicing Jew or anything, but and then they're talking to my people, air quotes, my people, like and then I turn around and say, okay, yeah, you want to talk about it? Sure, let's talk about it. Who's committing the violence? Oh, well, so anyway, let's change the topic. It's like, whoa. No, you started this.
Yeah, well, hey, that's like what Elon Musk did with the BBC reporter.
Stewardess, I speak.
Yeah, that was fucking glorious. You've seen that, right, Functional?
What?
Elon Musk speaking to the BBC reporter?
Oh, yeah, putting him in his place. Well, I'm asking you one example. You can't tell me one example. Yeah, right after he is so sure of himself, said, oh, well, there was hate speech. Okay, give me one example.
And not only did he say
I can't give you one example. It's rampant. And just one example.
Not only did he say that there was so much hate speech, he said, I've seen a massive increase of hate speech on my feed. And then he was called out on it. Okay, so what do you mean by that? Well, people that have been mildly insulting. Wait, are you saying that mildly insulting people should be banned? Well, no, I'm not saying that. So what do you mean by hate speech? Because you've said hate speech should be banned. I asked you what hate speech you've seen, and you said, well, people have been mildly offensive. And can you give me an example of any of this? Well, I can't because I haven't been using that feature. You just said that you've seen it. Well, I haven't been using that feature. You said that you did, though. So can you give an example? Well, it's other people have been saying that they've used that example. But you can't give a single fucking example.
Just keep pushing that goalpost around and deflect. I mean, yeah, it makes that kind of shit gets out. This is what Elon's really good at is when he's in these interviews and people try to call him.
Focuses on shit.
Well, and that's the thing. Anybody can do that, though. I mean, you just have to realize that, dude. Yes, there are people out there that have no regard with just telling you a flat out fucking lie, and say it with a straight face, and pretty much expect you to just accept it. And when you don't accept it, and you call them out on it, they're really not that deep. They don't have an answer to it. That's why it was like, well, I mean, not me personally. I don't fucking use Twitter. Come on, man. These groups said that there was a rise in hate speech, and he was like, well, yeah, but those guys are all the fucking the media that we just discussed has been tainted. So what in the fuck? Like.
And again, it was you didn't say that you are saw these people say this. You said you have seen a massive uptick in hate speech on your feed.
timeline. Yeah.
So that means you on your timeline. Those are the words that you said. So
Yes.
what example can you give from your timeline?
Yeah, because you have just literally through your language said you have direct exposure to this. Should be an easy enough question for you to answer.
Yep.
But no.
Yeah.
And then what they will do in their deflection, they will, not in this case, but in other cases, we've all probably seen it, and most of us have probably experienced it. They will attach potentially damning labels to you, like your ists or your phobes. And it's like, even after the fact, they can't point to an example where you've been an ist or a phobe.
Mm-hmm.
But the current social stigma behind these labels, like how many times have they tried to put these labels on Musk to bring it back to him? And yet you can ask until you're blue in the face. One example. Show me any example of him being racist or a phobe of any kind. And and then they shift,
They would pull up tweets of me saying, "Yeah, fuck onions," and they'd be like, "Dude, this dude's an onion phobe."
And Funkenstein, it was so golden when he so masterfully even responds to the interviewer near the end of the interaction. He's like, "I've been in, it's funny. I've been interviewing you. Come on."
Oh yeah.
That one made me smile.
This is not an interview about the BBC. It's like, well.
Also,
I
I love
charged
the
questions.
BBC and fucking PBS. Well, they said that we're state-funded media. Okay,
No,
where
that
does
was
your money come from? Well,
was
our
NPR.
money comes from. Oh, sorry. NPR
Private
and
donors
BBC.
and fundraise, and
It was
Yeah.
NPR and BBC also was getting pissed off about it because BBC was also flagged as state-funded media.
Yeah, which is
And
pretty obvious. It is.
they immediately start flipping the shit, going, "What do you mean we're state-funded media? We aren't state-funded media. Where does your money come from?" Well, most of our money comes from
Well,
taxes that were collected by
80%
the
comes
state.
from-
We aren't state-funded media. You just said that your money came from the government collecting taxes. No, they're collecting a license fee. Well, what happens if someone doesn't pay their license fee? Well, then the police come in and they get arrested because they
Government
aren't paying
enforcers visit you, and you get put on a naughty list. Yeah.
And
Funny
they're
how that
trying
works.
so hard to explain how a direct tax or license fee that you pay to the tax agency.
Wait, have they really, Talik? Oh my god, I gotta find this then.
Oh, what?
Wait, what do they do?
Tell us what those blurbs are. But yeah, NPR, the BBC. I'm hoping that it happens with CBC.
Yep.
Soon, because
and
it should
NPR
happen
actually
with BBC.
quit Twitter. They canceled using Twitter, and I was like, okay,
Yeah, that was after Twitter called them out about.
Well, I mean, Elon
their
even said, okay, maybe I wasn't fair in calling them state-funded or state-controlled media or whatever he initially said, and
it was
he changed it to more succinct language that it was what was the actual term, it escapes me, but it was more alluding to, they at least were in part funded by the state.
The original was just
and they still got pissed.
The original was just that it was flagged as state-sponsored media.
State-sponsored, thank you. That was
and then it was after they started throwing their shit fit, he increased the size of the blurb with the definition of state-sponsored. So it was the flag, state-sponsored. The blurb right beneath. State-sponsored means that it receives a majority or the entirety of its funding through a tax or license fee collected by the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And they were still flipping their shit. And I'm going, you match the fucking definition. When your funding comes from the government, you're government sponsored. There's no way around that. Which is the thing that pissed me off so much when a while ago there was a document that was being thrown around by fucking everyone online that wanted to own the United States under Trump. And it was this one extra governmental group decided to rank people based on their level of freedom. So it was like the National Freedom Index or some shit like that. And they gave the criteria for the National Freedom Index. And pissed me off because they gave the criteria and then they immediately ignored the criteria. Because one of the criteria was in order to get a 5 for freedom of the press had to be separate from the government, so they could not receive their funding from the government. They could not be state-sponsored, is another way of phrasing that. They, of course, could not have state editorial control. And they had a bunch of other criteria. So, like, the perfect score was a 5 in that category, and it had to be a completely free press. A 4 had minimal state-funded press. A 3 was a mix of free and state-funded. And it went down the list. So I looked up a couple countries. They gave the US a 3 on this. Anyone care to guess what they gave Canada and England?
What was the scale again? 5?
5 was the max. And 5 required a free press, which was not state-funded, which was not editorial control by the state.
So I think that they both got a 5.
They both got 5s.
Ha!
The
How did
US
I
got
fucking
a
know?
3.
We literally have state-funded, state-controlled media.
Yep. But for some reason, this group looked at the US, which we have one fairly inconsequential news group that ends up getting state funding, which is NPR.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have understood a 4 for the NPR issue.
And
but
yeah, probably keep it at a 4 for something like what is it, PBS?
Yeah,
They also do get some government funds, but I mean it's mostly
yeah. So I
but
could
it's
understand.
still freer.
I could understand getting like a 4. It should be like a 4.5 for the US, I would say.
Yeah,
Because,
not
yeah,
perfect, but it's great.
Yeah, there's almost no
As far as freedom is
funded media. But England has the BBC, or the UK has the BBC, which is state-funded media.
Yeah, multiple channels of the BBC, and that
Yeah.
you have to. Well,
It
they
has
did.
multiple-
They did recently allow the opt-in or opt-out, but I mean, it still was for the longest time mandatory.
Yeah, it had the mandatory BBC funding, which was radio and television on numerous channels of each,
Mm-hmm.
which should have put it maxing out at maybe a 4, probably more like a 3.5. And Canada, very similar situation.
Yep, CBC.
Yep.
We also have individual outlets per province.
Yep.
And
So-
a lot of our private stations also get money from the government.
Also,
more
one
of
of the
a
most
subsidy.
infuriating things, because I did this test with a few different countries just on that one criteria, because when I saw that criteria, I went, I know they're going to fucking lie in
Yeah.
these scores. I
Yeah.
know that they're going to completely twist everything. So I did the US, Canada, the UK, Russia, and China. Those were the 5 countries that I checked their score in media freedom. So Russia, if I remember correctly, got a 1.5.
Okay.
The US, like I said, got like a 3.
Not
The
okay.
UK and Canada got 5s. Want to guess what China got?
4.
2.
China got a 3.
3.
Ah, damn.
So they said China, which all their channels are government controlled, not just government funded,
Sponsored. Yeah.
government
It's controlled.
controlled, got the same score as the US, which we have one channel that is government supported. It's not entirely funded. It's in large part funded, but not entirely funded, even in that one instance. It got the same score. And I'm going, you lying sons of bitches.
Pieces of shit.
You dirty bastards. Because everyone was throwing around these scores saying, this country is rated as more free than America. That country's rated as more free than America. So I went, okay, what's their methodology? And I looked at their methodology. And their methodology looked beautiful. The problem is they fucking threw their methodology out the moment that they started actually using it.
And then just applied numbers that they wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because on every point, it was really well done how they explained how they were going to do things. They didn't actually do any of it the way that they explained. But it was 1 through 5 on every category. And I already walked through the freedom of the press category, but then they had like the rights. And 5 was effectively the exact wording of U.S. Bill of Rights, where it's, these are fucking inalienable.
Mm-hmm.
These are things the government cannot infringe upon. That would earn you a 5. So despite the U.S. having the document that gave like freedom of speech as an inalienable right, it got
Yeah.
a 4.5. And despite England having one corner where you actually have complete freedom of speech, and even then they've started to infringe upon it, it got a 5. Despite language laws in the EU, it got 5s. US, with the actual, this law will not, or this right will not be infringed. The government has no fucking control of this wording of the Bill of Rights. Yeah, it got a 4.5. China somehow didn't get a 1.
Somehow. Gee, I wonder why.
Somehow didn't end up with a 1. But like I said, it was just every single thing I looked at and I went, man, this is a really good scaling. And then I would look at how they actually applied it and I would go, they did not use this scaling. What fucking scaling did they use? Because it was every single point would have something wrong with it. The only one that they actually used exactly how they said was their healthcare point, which they put 5 would be provided healthcare, and 4 would be access to, I think it was 4, 3 or 4 was access to healthcare, but required pay. So Canada ended up getting like a 4.5 because it has that interesting combo system. The UK got a 5 because it has the NHS. So that it actually used its scaling. But that was the only part of the scaling that I was going, okay, I have a problem with this one. That's not when you have freedom. Why is it government control of that is considered freedom? Government control of everything else reduces the freedom.
Yeah.
That it increases.
Yeah, it kind of seems half-assed backwards, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And it still drives me crazy, the economic illiteracy of all the fucking shit on that side.
And it amazes me how the cognitive dissonance with so many people these days. You can throw all sorts of these facts. You can show all these kinds of examples of whatever, like from Elon proving that he's not ist or phobe or whatever.
Yep.
To these indexes, and show them how the criteria conflicts with the results that they give, and they'll still go, no, that's wrong. You're wrong. Wrong. You're wrong.
No, dude.
Point to one clear example of Donald Trump being a racist. Well, he ate a taco bowl once at Trump Tower. It's like, motherfucker, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? That's the best you've got.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah, he loved Taco Bowl. It was like a little stunt he did on Cinco de Mayo when he was like, "I love Trump Tower. We got the best taco bowls." It's, that's not even a Latino dish.
Well, I mean,
it's American.
To be honest, taco bowls are pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are. I'm not criticizing the taco bowl itself. The taco bowl did nothing but potentially be delicious.
Man. Don't be racist.
I know. I hate taco bowl raced. It's the same thing. Well, it's the same thing. Like, you can be like, okay, so if Donald Trump is this mega racist, whatever, what about Trudeau? Oh no, he's great. Well, he literally did blackface. Yeah, but I mean, no, he's great. He's not at all. He's fine. Like,
what about fucking Virginia governor before the current one?
Oh,
I always confuse his name with the California governor.
Not
because Newsom is California,
not Manchin.
But you know the one I'm talking about.
What state was it again?
Say again?
What state was it again?
Virginia. Virginia before the current Virginia governor.
Youngkin's
the current.
Northam,
yes.
Yes, it was Ralph Northam.
Yeah, Northam.
He's like, I don't know. It could have been me. It could have been...
I'm not sure if I was the one in the blackface or the one in the KKK hood.
Yeah, which is even worse.
Is that supposed to make it better?
Oh, wow.
Because, yeah, it was a picture of what people claimed was him in blackface. And he said...
In a college party.
Hold on. I'm not sure which one I was. And that was his defense.
In a college costume party where it's not, you're not literally, like, I'm okay with all of that. Do blackface, do Jew face, yellow face, red face, white face. I don't give a shit. We're all equal. Make fun of everybody.
So is Jew face just getting Groucho Marx glasses and then removing the mustache?
Potentially. I was thinking more of a prosthetic nose and the payas, the little curly cues down the side of the face.
Yeah, so
Maybe carry around a bag of gold.
The Groucho Marx glasses gives you the nice big schnoz.
Mm.
And then you just trim the mustache, and then you just have to get the little curly hair.
Mm. Yeah, I forgot that the glasses came with the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Groucho Marx had a big old hunker.
Yeah.
He had an absolute fucking beak on him, a proper Roman nose.
Yeah, like that puts mine to shame, and I have a prominent juju nose.
And yes, Frosted also was the one who said Northam in chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving you your credit. But yeah,
I know there's a delay. It came out at about the same time, but yeah, Frosted knows his shit.
Have been perfectly fine if he had come out and said, I was in college, I was at a frat party. Fuck you.
Yeah, it was a college frat party. Take off.
Yeah. I would have gone, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because you cannot ever give these people an inch.
Yep.
The old adage, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Only these assholes are so ballsy, they'll take 10 miles and then piss in your face.
It's kind of like the kid from Australia a few years ago.
Oh, the Groucho, right? The Groucho stuff. I get it. Dude, it's been a long day.
Talking about the Groucho stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. That works as well. But you have to admit, huge fucking schnoz on Groucho. Also, I still love I love my cigars too, but I know when to take them out line. Yeah. That was perfect. And in case anyone doesn't know the context of that, it is one of my favorite Groucho Marx. Just razor fucking sharp tongue and ridiculously quick wit. He was on an interview show, and a football player, I think it was on the show at the same time. And the football player had something like 9+ kids. And his wife was pregnant again.
Yeah.
And the interviewer kind of leaned over and went, okay, I have to ask, why do you have so many kids? And the football player looked the guy in the eyes and said, well, you see, I love my wife very much. Groucho Marx immediately leans in and says, I love my cigars too, but at least I know when to take them out. And then sits back down, just puffing on his cigar.
Yeah, he was great.
So
razor sharp,
fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Yeah, Groucho. Any fucking point where he was given a mic and just allowed to go off. Hell yes.
And if he was doing that stuff today, he would be that person who would not concede any ground, would not give these people any room to maneuver to label him this or that.
He would rip the more piss like out of them.
Yeah, and then he'd fire back with some kind of just right in there. Yeah.
Yep.
We don't have enough of these. You know, we have people like Trump who just let's face it, he would probably fire back, but he doesn't have the wit and intelligence and the razor sharp edge that someone like Groucho did.
He doesn't have.
We talked about Elon. Elon has the intelligence, he has the wit, he is sharp, but he sometimes, he's also got faults where,
maybe... I would say that Elon has the intelligence to do it. Trump has the bravado to do it.
Yeah.
Neither of them have that comedic wit.
Total package that, Groucho put together. Yeah.
Because
I would say
that
Carolla.
Comedic wit.
Yeah, I would say Adam Carolla did. Because, proof's in the pudding. He fired back all the time. Norm Macdonald, too. Because Norm didn't give a shit about anybody.
Sounds like some commie gobbledygook.
Yeah.
I'm just happy not to have a president who killed someone.
Yeah. It was great.
And then he was never on air again. That was the last time he was on The View.
Yeah, Funk, he is a bit wishy-washy at times, but my point is, like, nobody in our current day who's still doing that, like, fighting the good fight, let's call it, who is the total package on the same level or even close to the level that Groucho was. Like, shit. Yeah, you know, even in his old age, he was still great. He kind of tuned it back a little bit, but he was still great. He still used that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I can respect that. You get into, you know, later life, you don't want to be as overtly aggressive, pushy. But if someone comes to you, you best come prepared. And
I would
very
say-
few people in this world could come anywhere close to becoming prepared to come prepared against Groucho. Again, he was the total package.
I'd say one of the few people that had as many amazingly funny lines as Groucho Marx recently
Yeah.
was someone who never intended to do it, because Prince Philip, good fucking God, that man, he was a walking gaff machine in the most amazing fashion. He's the one who saw two English students studying abroad in China, and he walked up to them and said, "Don't stay here too long, lads, or else you'll get all slitty-eyed." Then it was either Australia or Africa, and he was being shown some sort of tribal dance. And he leans over to his interpreter, and he asks, "So do you lads still chuck spears at each other?" The man just didn't give a shit.
Oh, I remember that.
It was fucking amazing. Horrendous when it came to diplomatic missions. Hilarious in every other extent, though. But it just drives me crazy that we're allowing people to try to make us humorless.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people don't laugh at their shit. And as they go more and more into this, even the people that had a talent that were funny make themselves complete fucking black holes of any sort of jolliness.
Yeah.
They're just
They're so
spiteful.
humorless that they have to, and yeah, exactly, spiteful that they have to make everyone else like them.
Yeah.
It's humor equity.
And it is goddamn depressing that people are trying to do this.
It's kind of sad seeing them decay into that type of mentality as well.
Yeah. When you see someone that has made you laugh before, then start saying shit like there are things that shouldn't be made fun of. Fuck you. No, nothing on earth exists that should not be able to be made into a joke.
Yeah. Seth Rogen, hello.
Yeah.
Now he wasn't the funniest person to begin with, but you know, he had in smaller roles and controlled doses, like 40-Year-Old Virgin, he fucking cracked me up there.
Yeah, and
you know how I know you're gay?
Even in some of the longer shit that he was in, it was decent early on. Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
it's not
good.
high cinema by any stretch of the imagination.
Stupid comedy.
It was
stoner comedy.
Stupid stoner comedy that made me laugh.
It did its job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wasn't looking for some highbrow shit when I went to Pineapple Express. I was looking for something that made me do the ha-has from time to time. And it did. It did its fucking job. I was perfectly happy with it. Superbad is fantastic. There's a lot of fantastic comedies, even from just a couple decades ago. But the number of properly funny comedies since this shit has been running amok, vanishing.
You have to go indie.
Yeah, you have to go indie. You can't go for things that are the big name productions, because they just leave you feeling empty and almost tainted for having seen them.
Yeah. Like again with Seth Rogen, I really enjoyed Knocked Up.
Mm-hmm.
Now that would probably be, other than, I mean, Pineapple Express, he kind of also wasn't like the main character, but it was the only movie I've seen him in that he was the main role, but it was still funny. Mostly someone like him, it was only really good in small doses. And yet again, with all those small roles, today he's basically preaching that what he did once he kicked over that ladder, that offensiveness, that edginess got him to where he is. He's going to kick over that ladder and then make sure anybody else who even wants to get close to that level of edginess, and he's not the most edgiest motherfucker. He was just, like you said, give you the ha-has kind of edgy. And it's like, it's so disgusting. Get over yourselves. Kung Fu. He was in Kung Fu Panda. I guess he played in the new Mario animated movie. He plays something.
Yeah, he plays Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong? Yeah. It's just not my thing.
And he even, I believe he said, I may be mistaken, but it goes along, I'm not going to do a different voice. It's just me. And pretty much, yeah, he's just reading a script.
And anyone that says that when it comes to voice acting, get fucked.
Yeah, fuck you. Dude,
Get
no,
I don't.
You're a character.
Same thing when it comes to acting. If someone says, I'm not going to play someone else, what the fuck do you think your job is?
Well,
Your job is to be pretend.
I mean, think about
your job is to act like you're someone fucking else.
No, but they believe that they are going to be the character, but it's them.
Which that doesn't work.
Well, to them, I mean, to a narcissist, it makes perfect sense. It's them. Just portraying the character.
It should just be that if someone says something like that, okay, you don't get any jobs anymore.
I know it's mostly scripted, but oh fuck, what are their names from Red Letter Media? And I don't, again, because it seems to be at least Mike and Rich.
Yes.
There's
a bunch of others that come
obviously they seem to come
about.
Yeah. Obviously it seems like they at the very least make mental notes of certain points they want to hit on. So it's hard to tell how sharp they are, how quick they can be. But man, they're dry, deadpan, really intelligent humor that really sticks it to the perpetually offensive crowd. Just gorgeous. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Rich, J, Mike. Yeah, exactly. Frosted. I always forget their names. They're just the guys.
Yep.
They remind me so much of some of the people I grew up with. It's just like, it's me on that level too.
That's the charm of it, when you have just people that you can tell that they actually enjoy doing this shit.
Mm-hmm. And when something so offensive to their enjoyment of cinema And not in a good way, like when they watch like the really shitty movies, but they watch them because and enjoy them because they're so crappy.
Yeah.
Not those. We're talking about the movies that come out that should be blockbusters, that should be entertaining at the very least, and they shit all over them. The pearl clutchers be damned. They will say anything and everything and just fucking they don't care.
Yeah, and no one should give a shit about that.
Yeah, you're probably
Of course.
right, Frosted. I mean, it not so much scripted, but they'll ahead of time you can tell that they have certain points, certain beats that they're gonna try to touch on while they're doing kind of, and yeah, it is edited because you can tell that sometimes they have that pause, but it's not a funny time to pause. So yeah, just edit that shit out. But it's not jump cut to jump cut to jump cut to jump cut to create an entire new scene, which is what I can respect.
That's the thing. That
it's a different medium.
There's a couple different sorts of being funny. You have people that can be funny in written word, that can't be funny when they're trying to speak because they just don't have that verbal timing.
Mm-hmm.
You have people that can be funny in things that you can clip together their best bits, but if they're ever having to just riff live, it's painful. And then you have people that they're just fucking going.
It's just naturally who they are. It comes so natural to them. Yeah.
Yeah. They are just coming up with this shit live without any sort of real build up, without any sort of apparent effort. They're just saying something that goddamn kills you because it just comes out of fucking nowhere. And the people that are good if you clip them together, those are also the ones that can get pretty damn good if they really workshop material.
Yeah, they have to work at it.
Yep, but they can workshop
Practice.
material and they can make a fucking tight set. But then they won't ever be able to handle the hecklers quite as well as that third group that I was talking about. And that's what separates a bunch of comedians, because there are some really damn good comedians that are hilarious, but the moment something takes them off of their set,
they lose their footing.
Takes them some time to refine themselves. And then there's others that are just so goddamn fast that something tries to derail them, and rather than derailing them, it's like, okay, bitch, new stop is added. Let's fucking go. And those are the ones that can just absolutely rip the piss into someone. Like, Jimmy Carr tends to be really good for that shit. And he does an interesting thing where some of his heckle responses are just off-the-cuff heckle responses. But he's gotten so used to people trying to heckle him when he says something fucked up that he's also built in some canned heckle responses. Like whenever he pulls out the... What's the... There's that one game that girls play in school. Like young girls, I'm talking like 8th grade and earlier, where it's that folding thing where you count the numbers.
Oh, yeah, the fortune-telling machine.
Yeah, that thing.
What's your favorite color?
Yep.
ELUE, yeah.
And he has one of those that he pulls out sometimes. And he'll tell them, Okay, I see that you want some attention, so let me give you some attention. Let's start with, what's your favorite color? And he'll count off or spell out the color as he opens and closes the thing. What's your favorite number? And he'll count off the number. And then he'll go, okay, you have a choice of these 4 things. Which one do you like? Okay, you like that one. If I wanted a comeback, I would have scraped it off your mother's teeth. And then he'll continue on with his set. Yes. That one is always one of my favorite ones. And he pulls that out fairly often, but he has a bunch of them on that fucking fortune-telling thing where it's just various insults to them, their mothers, or their entire fucking family line.
Yeah.
And it is goddamn beautiful. And there's a bunch of other comedians that are the same way, where they can bounce back amazingly. And those are the ones that are really fucking amazing. I love those comedians because those are the ones that it's not just their workshop material. They still workshop material, but it's not just that. They also have that innate wit, which is why people love stories about Churchill, for instance. Because with Churchill, you get all the great stories of him and, who was it, fucking Lady Astor sniping at each other. They're at a charity ball and they've constantly been sniping back and forth at each other at every opportunity in every setting that they possibly can. But Winston Churchill goes up to her towards the end of the ball and asks her for a dance. They're halfway through the dance and she says that she's rather surprised that he asked her. And he looks her dead in the eyes and says, well, it is a charity ball after all, madam. Or the time that he hears her bad-mouthing another man's date who was much younger than he was. So she's making all sorts of accusations of her being a whore. So he finds the most attractive waiter at the event, takes the waiter over to her table and says, excuse me, ladies, would you sleep with this man for £1 million? And they all kind of titter and go, well, for £1 million. And then he goes, okay, would you sleep with this man for a penny? What sort of women do you think we are, Mr. Churchill? That's already been determined. We're just haggling price.
Yeah.
Or showing up drunk. And this is one that, why am I blanking on his name? Hitchens, Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
Used,
Personal hero of mine.
Shows up piss drunk to a debate. And he gets accused of being drunk by his opponent. And he looks at his opponent and says, you're correct, sir. But you see, in the morning, I shall be sober and you'll still be an idiot.
Yep.
And continues fucking arguing the point. We love these quick, witty lines. We love those moments because they just get that right snap and that perfect timing.
Yeah. I see a lot of that in Dave Landau. I'm a huge fan of his. Crowder, I can take him or leave him. But when he had Landau on for however long, like I didn't want to miss it because he was so funny. And then I started watching some of his stand-up stuff, and I'm like, okay, he's got it. Listening to him take down hecklers, posts on social media, and you look at the posts on social media, and this is a good indication that you don't see this post has been edited. First of all, on the platforms you can get that, but it's also like, the comment is made at like 7:22. His response is at 7:22. So it's quick.
Yeah.
I like it. I want more of him.
Yeah. And I love those comedians. I love those comedians that have that snap. in fact, I love anyone that really has that snap, that someone can give them a jab and it's an immediate response. It's that immediate just, okay, I see that you tried to do this, but here you go. Here's your own ass. I'll give it back to you.
Yeah. You just handed me rope, now I'm going to hang you with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more people like that in the common space, the common comedic space. We don't have enough of that these days. It's really a shame.
And
because, like Adam said, they want to kill comedy.
And it's not just in the comedic space that we need that. We need those quick thinkers.
But traditionally, like the jesters have been the ones to act as the voice for the common people to hold the powers that be accountable and do it through comedy. So everybody can still laugh, which is great, but it's also saying, yeah, this guy's a dickhead.
God damn it, Frosted. You just handed me rope, Robin Williams.
I mean, at least you're not David Carradine and I didn't hand you a belt.
The danger wank.
And good shows, because Frosted brings up Dick Cavett, we don't have any of those good late night kind of shows anymore. Even on, social media platforms, a lot of these people get censored. A lot of these people, they not only get censored, but there's also the threat of it that keeps people kind of in line where, and not everybody's going to be a Ricky Berwick. Not only is he funny, but I mean, he's got a lot wrong with him. And who the fuck is anybody going to go, oh, you can't make that joke? Are you kidding me? I'm making a joke of people like me or myself. And they would, thank God we're not at the point where they would even attempt to do that, because they would be handed their own ass.
And I miss the old school way of looking at when people would make jokes at you. Because the thing is that when you're actually becoming friends with someone, the moment that they start cracking the shits at you, that's when you know that you're actually friends. If you're exempt from any joke, if you're exempt from any jabs, you aren't an equal to them. You're either someone that was included that is, for some reason, being held in a higher station, which is why a lot of guys take a long fucking time to reach the point where they start making fun of their girlfriends. Because they kind of feel like, no, they're important. They're more important. I can't treat them that way. But eventually they will. And the other option is that you're too fragile. Because there's a line from, I won't get the line exactly, but it's from the Stormlight Archive series by Brandon Sanderson. And it's said by a character known as Wit in that particular series. Which is, there's a difference between wit and cruelty. Wit is when someone is improved by your tongue's attention. Cruelty is when they're broken by it.
Yeah, I mean, cruelty is a little bit more nuanced than that, because I mean, you can have people who are just overly sensitive, pussy ass bitches. But no, I can agree with the spirit of the sentiment. And to your point of the relationships, the joking around with your partner, it's kind of like, first of all, you have to realize men and women are just so fundamentally different. We could, in fact, be entirely different species.
Oh, yeah.
That's how different we are on that level. So when you it's a slow process that gets built up over the course of time where you're constantly testing each other's boundaries. And then you can slowly, just nudge the boundary a little bit. And as time goes on, you become more comfortable. And then there's just at a point where, like, again, I went to the country, I visited my aunt and uncle today. The shit you say when you're that old and nobody gives two shits anymore because you're just too old, it doesn't matter anymore. It's so great. It's so funny. I love watching dynamics like that.
Doctor's still just pissed off in chat that I was able to do a complete show run of the Murder Hotel game where I did it for absolutely $0 and I still fucking beat his ass like a goddamn drum. But it's one of those things that when people are able to joke with you and you're able to joke with them, that actually draws people closer. And if you're able to laugh at jokes about anyone else, I didn't cheat a fucking thing and you goddamn know it. So if you're able to joke with each other, it's beautiful. And if you're able to laugh at a joke against anyone else, but if it strikes anywhere near your house, you suddenly get pissed off, you're the asshole. Not the person who made the joke. You're the asshole. There's a scene that when you watch it again, it kind of points out something that you didn't realize the first time. Do you guys all remember the Nutty Professor?
Which one? The old
Eddie Murphy?
1961? Oh, the Eddie Murphy one. Yeah.
So, do you remember the comedy club scene?
Oh, with Dave Chappelle.
Yes, it was Dave Chappelle. And I did not cheat in a single fucking game. I just am able to win that fucking thing, even with $0 goddamn dollars. And then we went for another round, and guess what? I came back and I got some bag, bitch. So, in that comedy club scene, if you watch it again, when you're older, you'll notice something. That Gloop and his date are laughing at everything. Other fucking joke in that comedy club scene. And that comic is just scanning through fucking everyone and insulting each person in turn and ripping the piss out of them. And every other person is laughing at every fucking joke. And then it hits Gloop. Because Gloop ends up drawing attention to himself, trying to escape the joke that was coming.
Oh, yeah,
and
Reggie.
by trying to escape, it just drew his attention. And what did Reggie do? Reggie went, "You fat man!" and started to rip into him. Because he had ripped into every other person. And suddenly Gloop wasn't laughing. Gloop was the asshole in that scene. It wasn't the comedian. The comedian was doing what the comedian had done with every other person. Without any problem. That entire fucking scene. And again, I'm not a cheating bastard. I won those games quite innocently. And oh yeah, sorry, Clump, not Gloop. Clump. But I won those games quite innocently, and I did so again by being able to show after coming back a second time and winning it again, this time for the actual bag, rather than just the glory of being able to win have all of you motherfuckers die in that hotel and escape as just a bit of a thrill.
She's
But
unbelievable.
when Clump started to get insulted, he was pissed off, he was offended, he was hurt, he had shit that he had to deal with. Because, yeah, it sucks being overweight. Yeah, it sucks when you get made fun of. But not everyone cracking the shits at you is doing so to be an asshole.
Well, to single you out, that's kind of the theme, because, like you mentioned, you have to be able to laugh at everybody.
Yep.
And laugh at yourself. You have to laugh at yourself before you can laugh at anybody else, too.
Yeah.
That's where comedy starts, to realize, you can joke about yourself, you can take a joke, and you can notice everyone around you can be made fun of too.
Yep.
What's more equal than that? What's more the spirit of true equality than that?
Yeah. Treat them like people. That's the whole point of that. It's to treat them like people, which is why, damn it, this is the second time fairly recently that I've forgotten this one comedian's name, Wriggles. That's the reason why Wriggles was as funny and was as liked as he was. He would insult Polacks. He would insult Jews. He would insult fucking anyone that he laid eyes on. And everyone enjoyed him because everyone realized that it wasn't him picking on them. It was him ripping into fucking everyone. And when you're ripping into everyone, you aren't singling out anyone. You aren't insulting anyone. You're laughing with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have these thin-skinned little faggots that all they do is they bitch and moan and they say, well, you can't make fun of us. Fuck you. No one and nothing is ever.
No. What's worse is that it's not even about them.
Yep.
They're speaking for others. Again, like a good
In many
example is like Ricky Berwick. People did try to say, oh, well, you can't make fun of him. And it's like, he came out and said, like, yes, they can.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up. Yes, they can. Anybody can make fun of me because I can make fun of myself and I will make fun of everybody else.
Yeah.
So go fuck yourself. And
And
I think Frosted's onto something. You and Tyr spear chucking at dawn.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
First
He
one to
can
3
go-
spears wins.
Yeah, he can go with his tribal bullshit. I'll go with my proper Celtic spear, properly made.
Oh no, you guys are wearing like lion skin loincloths.
No. He
Blackface.
gets the lion skin. I clearly have to go for boar, bear, or wolf. We have to do this properly so that each of us is in our fitting element.
Right.
Well, I suppose that also means that I could be wearing a sheep, and it's questionable whether that sheep would be alive or in the form of wool. So there's a bunch of different options in this competition.
Dude, already it sounds like one of those episodes of what was it? History matches or something like that. Like it was on
Deadliest
History.
Warrior.
Yeah, Deadliest Warrior.
Yep.
Like first you guys got to do long range weapons, and then you guys got to do some close quarter combat.
So
I don't know much about Tyr, but Sanguine's gonna win that last one.
do I get to use all of my heritage's weapons, or am I restricted to one section of my heritage's weapons?
Dude, you would crush him with your fist. Let's be
I don't
real.
know. You know, to be honest, we're gonna have to go ahead and
Bottle.
hire some quote unquote historical and military experts on this endeavor. And what they're gonna deduce is pretty much go ahead. Use whatever you need to.
Because, yeah, what I
With
think
mine,
I'll
I
end up doing-
get. Hold on, I get throwing stars of David, space lasers, and
Don't
going to
golems.
Jews in space.
and golems.
Dude, Golem's on its
Nice.
own.
Sorry, Sanguine, I couldn't help myself.
If we're including that, then does that mean that I also get all the interesting abilities of druidry?
That's not real. The golem's real. Space
Okay,
lasers
hold
are
on,
real.
hold on. If
Am
we're gonna
I allowed to
hold on, if we're gonna
decide
include
that I get to use Moltok?
if we're gonna include golems, then that means that you're starting to introduce I don't know how to say it, magic or psychic
How
How
abilities
dare
type
you,
of stuff.
Adam?
Look,
That's what I'm saying. If golems are included, then it seems obvious that Moltok should
Yeah.
also be included.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
there
You
you
know,
go.
and then what? You know what? Then I'll just introduce plagues, burning bushes, and the slaying of the firstborn.
Okay, then I get to bring in the fucking Morgan and
This is gonna
The
go on
gay boy.
forever.
Holy shit! Hold on, I don't know. He's got an organ.
the Morgan.
Or-
Slightly different. Chooser of the slain.
Yeah, no. Um,
It'd be the Germanic side that would give me the organ. Ah, fuck you. I'll get.
But I mean,
Shape
Sanguine,
shifted
aren't you
hand
the firstborn?
I am the giant.
Oi, vey!
I mean,
And actually,
Check
I'm not
and
the
mate,
firstborn.
Sonny. I can't help you with this anymore.
yeah, I don't like
And
this either. 'Cause I'm the
Actually,
firstborn.
functional. I'm not the firstborn.
Damn it!
I'm the
Oh, wait, no,
baby of the
I'm not.
family.
Hold on, is it the first male or the firstborn?
Firstborn.
It's
Okay,
the
I'm
firstborn
good.
male.
It's the
is
Oh.
ancient
normally-
plagues of Egypt.
Because it was the
Let my
firstborn following
people go.
primogeniture.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have you ever thought about how fucking weird it is that the Greeks and Romans came up with primogeniture in their society as well, when their fucking entire religious belief was based around ultimogeniture? Because when you look at the Grecian and Roman creation, and you're looking at the order of their divine beings, you have the primordial titans, then you have the first generation titans born of Uranus and Gaia, then the youngest of the first generation of titans born of Uranus and Gaia was Kronos. Kronos then gelded Uranus and took Uranus's place as the chief of the deities, the chief of the titans.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was the youngest taking power. Then, when his children were bound to overthrow him, it was again the youngest of his children from Rhea, Zeus, who overthrew him. So this is 2 rounds of ultimogeniture.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when they were going through their hereditary rule system,
Their societal norm, yeah.
they did primogeniture. Why the fuck did you do primogeniture when your religion was ultimogeniture? It should have been ultimogeniture heredity. That's the only way that makes sense to that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It makes no sense where that would have come from too. From what I can, I can't think of anything off the top of my head like that would have influenced that.
And there is actually a legitimate explanation for why ultimogeniture makes far more sense than primogeniture.
Okay.
Because when you think about it, and you're thinking about your children, So your firstborn male heir will come of age and will be able to earn a name for himself during your life, ideally during your life. He'll be able to earn a name for himself, which means that he's in good standing by the time that you pass. Your youngest son has had the least amount of time to earn his own way. So it makes sense for him to get the lion's share of what you can pass on, since that then puts him at more level footing with his eldest sibling.
But that sounds like equity, because he didn't earn that.
It does to a certain point, but at the same time, it's when you're doing inheritance, you should consider which one ends up being the most meritorious. But a lot of this didn't consider merit at all, because you would have youngest children that were far more meritorious than eldest children. You'd have eldest children that were more meritorious than youngest. It would
but I think the average would probably line up. And you know, I think you hit something on the head with saying, you know, the firstborn male would have become a man in his own right, and given the general average time frames, life expectancies, blah blah blah, the youngest would probably be, you know, teen somewhere. And I mean, I can look at that and be like, okay, I'm the patriarch of the family, and I could see that as, well, if I just give them this inheritance, the lion's share, let's say, they haven't learned the value of it. They haven't learned the value of being a man yet. On average, probably I'm trying to put myself in that mindset of why it would be that way. And just to play a little bit of devil's advocate to where your thought of school of thought is.
But
because again, it's not something I've thought of before.
You also have to look at the traditional way of handling additional male heirs at the time, because you could end up combining the two systems in a rather interesting way, because what they typically ended up doing, first male was your heir, and that one you'd actually end up keeping safe a good chunk of the time because he's your heir. Second son would end up normally going to, I'm trying to remember, I think it's second son was military, third son was clergy.
I think it was fourth. Military. No, I think it was military clergy.
Military clergy. There was
I think
a combination of military,
because generally what would happen would be, you know, they'd either come back to, you know, steal a phrase, with their shield or on them. And so if they come back with their shield, they have proven themselves. And then the next one, you know, just kind of falls in line. And that might actually have been where there was a little bit of wiggle room to go, okay, well, he came back, so let's send the next one to clergy. But if they didn't, then they'd want that backup because, you know, being a soldier, being a fighter, a hero fighting for your country, your state, had a lot of social respect. This guy's a war hero. He's going to be a politician. He's going to be a man people look up to in the community. Potentially. Again, I'm just trying to theory craft.
It was something that could be shifted with a flexible hereditary style of primo or ultimo. Because if you had it where both the eldest and the youngest were sent off to military service, if one of them was able to prove themselves the more meritorious, give it to him. Which is why a meritorious heredity is much better than either primo or ultimo. But if you're looking for,
obviously you spread the monetary stuff around a little bit, but the most meritorious would pass
Well,
on your
that was
title
the
and
idea.
land.
That was the idea of ultimogeniture, was by giving it to the youngest. The youngest has had the shortest time to prove themselves to a large extent.
Yeah.
Which means that they don't have money put aside, whereas the eldest has had time. So
Whereas
you
they
end
still
up,
have the family name, which is still could,
Yep.
depending on the not Primarch, Patriarch, depending on
Yep.
his station, could be very, very valuable unto itself. So everybody's already getting a little bit of a social
Yep.
boost. Yeah,
and
I can see
also
that.
it was normally a thing that the youngest would be the one that was charged with maintaining the parents in their dotage.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because they would have that extra time to do that and then still have time left of their own life to live their life. I could see that. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So if they're the ones that are in charge of taking care of the parents in their dotage, it also makes sense that they should be getting the lion's share of the leavings. And it also balances things out in a way that most people do kind of want to balance things out to their progeny when it comes to inheritance. They don't want to fuck over any individual sibling or any individual child with the inheritance. Which is
That's
why
in good standing. Obviously, there can be black sheep or people
Oh,
that
yeah,
turn against the
absolutely.
family.
Someone
there's always exceptions to that kind of thing.
disinherited. That's another
And
matter.
I think Frosted also brings up a good point. Like when you have something like leaving to the to either sort of like established first or last, there's always the chance of fratricide and manipulation from within to put yourself, even though you wouldn't be in that prime position, or to even get a bigger share of the cut, you would do nefarious things. We've seen that recorded all throughout history. It's kind of actually kind of funny if it wasn't so tragic.
Extremely short reign of John Lackland's brother in between John and Richard. So everyone remembers Richard the Lionheart, of course, right? And people remember the infamy of John Lackland, which is King John.
Yeah.
But there was a third brother who had an extremely
Cletus.
short reign.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of rumors that his very short reign was the result of his youngest brother, John. Because, it was...
Because he wanted it.
And John was known to be covetous and cruel. He was also the favorite of his mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine.
He's just the retarded.
But he had several sons. He had Henry the Young King, who was promptly dead. Then he had Richard the Lionheart, who is the famous Crusader king, who then was killed in France by a bolt to the throat.
Yep.
He had Joffrey, sometimes Jeffrey. I often hear it Joffrey, though. Who was the Earl of Richmond and the Duke of Brittany, who was encouraged not to pursue the throne, shall we say. And then there was John, also known as John Lackland.
Yeah.
The shortest reign was Henry, who his reign was so fucking short that despite being one of many Henrys, considering his father was Henry II, Henry was not named Henry III. Henry was named Henry the Young King because his reign was a grand total of 13 years before
and
he
also the
died.
least known of all three brothers.
Or,
Most people can tell you about Richard the Lionheart, and then
Yep.
Maybe a few less people will tell you about John. Nobody knows about it. The middle child, 13
Yep.
years. Okay, that's still a significant reign. How many people actually get to be a king? But he's kind of like a footnote in history. Everybody knows about the other.
Yeah, the thing was that there were some interesting notes when it came to this because he was actually a co-king for much of his reign.
Coke King?
He was a
I want to be a Coke King.
For much of his reign.
Come and get me, you
King of the
cockroach.
Cokes. Yeah.
He was actually named as king during the reign of his father. So Henry II and Henry the Young King were kings at the same time.
Okay, that I didn't know.
Yeah, and then he died of interesting causes.
What, like syphilis?
Yeah, what kind of interesting?
Let me look up the exact nature of his death again. So,
and I think my favorite depiction on screen of Richard dying was it Robin Hood with Russell Crowe.
Yep.
That scene was just so magically done. I loved it.
So the interesting nature of Henry the Young King's death was he died actually in active rebellion against his co-king father.
Oh.
Which, by the way, he was encouraged to pursue this rebellion by two people, primarily. Care to guess what two people encouraged him to pursue this?
I want to say John?
Rebellion? That's one of them.
Ooh.
And I just said John was a favorite of one of his parents.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Henry?
Hey, maybe the Dalai Lama will want to take a nibble.
Oh, it was his mother.
King, yes, Henry the Young King was encouraged to go into rebellion by his youngest brother, John, and by his mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Who favored John, yeah.
Who favored John and openly favored John. And then he ends up dying with that. And he ends up being punished quite severely for his rebellion. Again, his punishment was advised by two main people. Care to guess which two main people again?
What is your mother for 400, Alex?
John and Eleanor were the two that, again, encouraged that the only thing that would be a fitting punishment was if he was actually fucking crucified.
Ow. Yeah, that's not fun. As far as punishments go, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Cruel, not fun.
But thankfully, he didn't quite get that death, but he did get sent the fuck off and was off. But yeah, very interesting period of English history where
Yeah.
all the brothers that were between John and the throne had a habit of rebelling against Henry.
Hmm.
And Henry had a habit of putting down those rebellious children rather quickly, with the exception of he didn't kill Richard when Richard rebelled, because Richard was Henry's favorite. That nearly broke his heart, though.
Actually, looking up because I haven't seen that movie, The Lion in Winter,
Yep.
long time. Seeing if I can find that online, and yes, I did. Huzzah! That's worth a rewatch. So yeah, they mostly most modern media tend to focus more on Richard or John.
Yep. Because Richard was this courageous crusader king that everyone fucking loved, to the point where
A symbol to be rallied behind.
Richard put the entire fucking kingdom into a massive amount of debt, and people still fucking loved him.
Yeah. And people starved. People were destitute. It was a bad time because he kept spending all this money on
the thing
fighting.
was, he got captured twice.
And they had to pay the ransoms.
And they ransomed him twice.
But also, war is not cheap.
Yep.
But it's a good story, and again, a good figurehead to rally your country around. And yeah, I can see where that happens.
But yeah, so it was, Richard didn't really know how to speak English. Richard spoke Old French, and specifically Norman Old French, which is a rougher tongue than standard Old French. Because Norman Old French was a mix of Norse and Old French.
Yeah.
So it was the most Germanic of Old French. And he viewed the majority of his kingdom to be the French lands, which originally, when Henry was thinking of how he was going to leave his lands, he viewed it as Henry the young king, because he originally had devised this before his children started just constantly fucking rebelling.
Yeah.
So it was Henry the young king would get England. It was Richard would get France. Let me quickly look up the entire breakdown, because I remember it was England, France, and then Joffrey, like I said, was meant to be Wales. And then he had a fourth son after coming up with this division of his three kingdoms.
Mm.
And he went, fuck. I don't have land for this child. Which is why John became known as John Lackland. Because he was the fourth son of the king who was not given a stated domain after the king's death.
And really, Wales, I mean, to me, that'd be more of a punishment, but, you know.
Yeah, but you had those three were given land, then Henry fucking died. So it was going to be Richard was going to get France still, because he was the favorite, and Henry also viewed France as kind of the more prestigious position.
Mm-hmm.
Geoffrey was now going to get England, and John was now going to get Wales. Then Geoffrey kind of stepped down.
Hold on. Hold on, Frosted Glass wants to make jokes with the stamp collection, but that was actually a really bomb-ass stamp collection, so joke's on you.
Well, you won't be king of England then, because you have a nice stamp collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, which one's worth more in gold? A kingdom or a stamp collection? There you go.
Well, it depends. Is that Kingdom Wales?
Well,
I love to
Also-
riff on the Welsh. Oh man.
also at the same time, you
Just
have to
because of their
remember
street
that
signs.
getting books at this time, a castle was about the same price as a book.
Yeah, no, think how many monks had to sit there and paint all those little stamps. Now,
Yeah.
where's your
All
kingdom?
those illuminations for the
Mhm.
stamps.
All the monks.
Well, you would just call a medieval Uber, known as the messenger,
Nice.
the
But
courier.
yeah, it was absolutely fascinating when you look into the history.
Mhm.
And like I said, at the time, getting a book was about the same price as a castle. The castle might be a little bit cheaper, in fact.
Yeah, handwritten. Like
And-
the amount of time it took, the handwriting, knowing how to read and write, all these things played into just sheer value of a book.
Yep.
That's why monks, they'd have entire orders devoted just to crafting these books.
Hey, and that's where we get those weirdo pornographic images.
Do I need
Because-
to pull up the dick tree again?
I mean, you don't have to, but it would be a good example.
Or penis falcor? Which one should I pull up? Dick tree or penis falcor?
You know,
Dick Tracy.
the choice is yours, but that's why they would do that, like, shit, I'm fucking sitting here writing this tapestry. Motherfuckers, you know what? Here's a dick. And they just wrote it in a corner somewhere. And it goes unnoticed for a long time until somebody's like, you know what? I can make some money off of this on eBay.
So, you guys ready to harvest the fresh fruit?
Not really,
I mean,
but carry on. My wayward
Funkenstein
son.
was the first one to say something, so there's the dick tree.
Yep.
Yeah, go pick a entire bushel of dicks.
Well, see, this is how you know they're ripe, is the very flush color at the tip and
Yeah,
the
well, they're also engorged.
contrasting
come on.
pale. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how
That's how you know they're ripe, ready for plucking.
I think if you flick it with your finger, you get a good flicking.
No,
Uh,
I don't know. What are you doing?
like
And
a melon,
just-
you gotta flick it to see if it's good on the inside.
I just looked up the one ruler, or the one noble that I was trying to remember. It was Duke Humphrey of Gloucester was the one I was trying to remember, who donated an obscene number of illuminated manuscripts to the Oxford Library.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, a book was about the price of a castle, and a castle might be a bit cheaper than a book. So, how many books do you think the man donated to a library?
Two.
880.
Both of you massively underselling it. But if you stick that 2 in front of the 80, you're almost there.
300.
280.
It was about 300. It was 287.
Oh.
He donated.
Adam, you're
200
closest without going over. You're the next contestant.
I'm closest while being the dumbest. I
He
love that
donated-
how we magically got there.
287 books
Yeah.
to a library at a time when a book was the price of a fucking castle. Good fucking God.
Why did he do that? Is there like recorded reasons for that, or just in his nature?
It was just he was a ridiculous bibliophile, effectively. And he
Oh,
was the
okay.
youngest brother of King Henry V.
So all this money and nothing to do with it, so might as well spread the word.
Yeah, and
Yeah, okay.
he
I can
wasn't
get
going
behind that
to
conviction.
inherit anything because his brother was going to be king, and he didn't really have much interest in siring his own line, shall we say. So
Little
he
buggery between the
decided
sheets.
he decided to give his entire collection, which at the time was damn near priceless, and it's would have only gone up since then, to the library. It was absolutely ridiculous. But sadly, a good chunk of that was destroyed because fucking Henry VIII and his bastard children. I've ranted about this many times. The
Damn, Henry VIII.
Henry VIII's son comes in. This is a lovely library you have. Too bad all these books were written by Catholics. Burn them. Next child comes in. This is a lovely library that you have. Too bad all these books were written by Protestants. Burn them and kill your Protestant instructors by burning them as well. Next one comes in. This is a lovely library that you have. Too bad all these books were written by Catholics. Burn them and 4 of your Catholics. God fucking damn it. The books that were lost due to that shit.
Yeah.
But it is about that time. And it
What are
seems
you
like
gonna
we're
do?
slightly winding down. Would you guys be in agreement with that?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So shall we go around the horn for parting words? Or do you guys have anything that you want to toss out and BS and blather about before we go? I'll take that as parting words from Functional. What about you, Adam?
I don't know. I swear I had stuff I wanted to bring up before the show, but somewhere between then and now, I seem to have lost all of those notes.
So let's go to parting words then. Which one of you wants to go first? I'll go Functional then.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I'm way
Neither
too
of you
tired.
volunteered, so I picked one.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Copy that. And Adam?
Well, shit. In terms of minions, I'd say make sure to hit that old like and subscribe, and check us out on Rumble too. Actually, I would say doubly check us out on Rumble, because it seems like YouTube is booting a lot of creators. Like Monkey just got I think he got a citation or something like that. But he,
Did he?
gets,
Oh, shit.
yeah. So, I would say we should probably start the exodus over to Rumble. But that's just me. Yeah, I can't I can't do nothing but say that. But also, yeah, thanks Sanguine for inviting me on.
Always fun.
Dr. Functional. It was fun chatting with you, dude. You're a cool guy.
You too, dude.
Love you all and God bless. Those are my parting words.
Copy that, and I'll leave off with my standard of if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Especially if you devour dick trees and are really passionate about them.
Ooh.
Go have at it.
And definitely don't allow the dick to devour you. That would be that would be terrifying. What sort of demon dick did you just
like
summon?
some serious hentai level shit?
Yeah.
Thanks. Now I'm gonna have nightmares.
Yeah,
Well,
good
it's your
job.
fault. You were the one who ended up coming up with that.
Yeah, but you had to turn it
I
into a
don't
mimic.
know my own strength, Sanguine.
You
Hold
said
on.
it, and then immediately that was what popped into my head. That's your fucking fault. But this is when you guys say goodbye to the nice viewers.
Goodbye,
Oh,
nice
wait.
viewers.
We're still
And
live?
Frosted.
Yes, we're still live because you guys didn't say goodbye.
No, we said goodbye.
I
No,
said
we said
goodbye, and
goodbye.
you didn't say goodbye after I said
No,
goodbye.
no.
You say goodbye.
So we conjured this
I say
demoness monster. Hold on, I gotta ask. Okay, before if we're still live, we
Yes,
have
we
to
are.
know. Does each individual fucking phallus have a mouth on this dick tree demon monster that we just
Is
conjured?
this a penis-headed hydra?
Yes.
I'm not a horticulturist, so I can't answer that.
Or rather, is this an arboreal penis-headed hydra?
I don't know. You brought. You did it, dude.
What did I start?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's all your fault. It's like a fucking
Usually
Venus
is.
flytrap. No, this. So Venus flytrap is named after Venus because some pervert thought that it looked like a pussy.
He
So
probably tried to stick his dick in there.
he went, well, let's name it after the most feminine of the Greek goddesses, or the most notoriously feminine, Aphrodite, but then he used the Roman name Venus. So does that mean, since you guys know the origin of hermaphrodite, right? It was a fusion of a god that was viewed as extremely masculine in appearance and a god that was, or goddess that was extremely feminine. So it was Hermes and Aphrodite. So it was Hermaphrodite, which was another deity of a sort that was effectively the fusion of those two. So if it's the Venus flytrap, then would the penis tree with the penises that are able to eat you be the hermaphrodildo tree or some shit?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It wouldn't be the hermaphrodildo because it would be the mercurial dildo tree, because we would again go for the Roman name, so Hermes becomes Mercury, and then it would either be the Venus flytrap, so it would be the Mercury. It wouldn't be a flytrap. Mercury slut trap. Would that be the tree's name then?
Dude.
Mercury beaver trap?
The Mercury Doxy Devourer. For those who don't know, Doxy's an old way of saying whore.
It's like Fingo and
Slag.
Yes. The slag saber. So now that we've bullshitted about that, have a good night. Again,
night, everybody.
I'm going to like to say good night.
Night.
There we go. And now I click this.